Right, looks like all members from both sides have almost joined in. We're waiting for one more member from DSA, and all the Turkish Air Force members are now in the room. Remarkably, there is a very different plane choice coming out from these teams when compared to Guys Who Did Your Cousin versus Unforgiven. Instead of 5 high altitude fighters, these teams have picked for 3 nimble medium to high altitude fighters. That will be the Spitfire Mark 1s, and on the side for the Turkish Air Force, joined by a 109E and a 110E German heavy fighter. And for as far as we can see, the DSA team has picked a P-40 American light fighter, high altitude, with 4 to 6 very powerful machine guns and the possibility to mount rockets. Would be very interesting if they would use those. Would be very impressive if they would make a kill with those as well. Followed by again 2 Spitfires so far and a high altitude 110E, which is a very menacing plane. It has a few 20mm cannons and some machine guns. The Spitfire ones are most likely loaded with just machine guns to make them as fast and nimble as possible, because if you add any cannons or any bigger caliber guns, that will add to the total weight of your plane and will decrease your plane's performance horizontally, vertically, but also your acceleration, the effectiveness of your boost and how quick you turn. The 109E can either be with 20mm cannons as well on the wing, but I'm assuming here that he is chosen for the machine gun setup with perhaps one 20mm cannon in the nose for some extra damage to take out, for example, the 110E. And we're still waiting here for the last DSA member. Looks like he is on TeamSpeak and he just can't find the room, perhaps the match room. Can't say at the moment. It's basically Germany versus Turkey really, because all the Turkish Air Force members are from Turkey, which makes kind of sense, and all the guys from DSA are from Germany. I must honestly say I only recognize Adler in the Spitfire 1 on the side of DSA. I know he's a very experienced pilot, has flown a lot of battles in the closed beta and the open beta. I've come across him a couple of times, but that's really the only member I recognize on that team roster. Whereas on Turkish Air Force we find ourselves with Insane Ahmed, Xavier Moniask, and Aris Cool. Those 4 names I can remember very well because of the First to the Top contest, which I participated in as well. Basically it was the first one to get to tier 10 after release. We get 10 years of premium, unified premium, that would also apply for World of War ships in the future, and World of Tanks and World of Warplanes in the present. And that's a very big prize to win. And any other player that would be in the first 20 to reach each tier 10 would gain another year of premium. And by participating in the contest, I've come across these guys from Turkish Air Force and more times than I really would have liked to, because going up against on your own against 3 enemies of the same tier is, well, pretty impossible to win really. Still waiting on the last DSA member to join the room. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He is in as well now, so I expect we can start any minute. And Kane, no, I'm drinking beer. I hope that's not a problem with you.
User joined your channel.
Okay, match, it's starting.
Right, thank you very much.
Channel switched.
And as I said, match could start any minute, and that will be right now. Very interesting to see that the guys from DSA chose a IL-2, Illusion 2, that's a ground attack aircraft of the Russians, and the map has been created on the wrong, or well, the game has been created on the wrong map. Wrong map. That's a pity. Or I am mistaken, but I think I was told that all matches in round 1 will be played on Pacific. But apparently not, as everyone seems to keep on playing. First spot already going out, the 110E is spotted on the side of DSA. Alright, and so that's interesting. There's someone ground attacking in J2, but it is not the IL-2 and not the IL-10. So it could be the P40 with rockets going for ground targets. In the meantime, both 110Es dogfighting each other, almost crashing into each other there. And it seems to be DoG who has the upper hand at this moment. Whilst in the meantime, below them, a dogfight is going on between the P40 and 3 Spitfires. And a crash came out there, so the P40 taken out there with a crash. In the meantime, the Etruscan is in trouble because DoG is closing in behind him. See if he can get the turn in. This should be the end of Etruscan. He's going down very rapidly, and there he goes. Nice, quick, clean kill there of DoG-02. In the meantime, below them, Ariscool is in trouble with a Spitfire on his ass, and I must admit the Spitfire is a far more nimble fighter than the 109E. So in a 1v1 dogfight, the Spitfire should gain the upper hand here pretty quickly. But Ariscool gets help from 2 Spitfires of his own, forcing Mr. Nas to go away and crashing into the mountain eventually. It's a sad end. But the game's not over yet, because in the meantime the Illusion 2 has been destroying ground targets rapidly and effectively, racking up 5 ground target kills and forcing a supremacy lead, whilst the 110E most likely is hiding high up in the clouds at the moment. IL-2 gets taken out. There's not much he can do here. So looks like DSA, despite only having 1 member left, is in the driving seat here. The Spitfires have no chance whatsoever to get to the altitude of the 110E. Only the 109E might have, but that would mean that there's a lot less firepower to kill ground targets. And they seem to have made what I think is the right choice, and that's focus fire on the ground targets, evening out supremacy points, and hopefully in time so they won't lose on supremacy. Ahmed almost crashing there, taking out their ground target. And DoG must make a decision now, because supremacy win is not going to happen here. He has to take someone out. Now if I were DoG, I would try to get a careful spot out without just diving right into them. And target the 109E. That would be Ariscool. That's his main priority, because that's the only plane that can actually follow him back up into the sky of this team of Turkish Air Force. But in the meantime, he seems to be holding back, perhaps to make ground targets kill or damage as much as members of the Turkish Air Force as possible. Still following Ariscool here, still focus firing on those ground targets. Supremacy win is not going to happen. In the meantime, DoG has been spotted shortly and disappeared again from the minimap. Ariscool has been taken down to 60% by combined fire of both the Spitfire 1 on the side of DSA and the ground target in the area. And there you have him. He's 1700 meters above them. There's no way they can climb towards him, but there's no way he can be patient and wait there for supremacy either. He has to take action, and he seems to be diving on Ares School at this very moment, coming in at very high speeds, opening fire. Ares School just managing to dodge the majority of the damage, and Juki decides to climb back up, but it might be that he sacrificed too much altitude already. He's been rapidly taken down to 30%, 27. Into 190, deciding to go back after him. In the meantime, Supremacy is ticking back to 24%. Ares School almost stalling out here whilst Juki comes back from a loop, diving on top of him again. Again, not managing to really hit Ares School, really hurt him, and that might just cost him the game. He's at 11% in the meantime. Yeah, I can't see how Juki can still win this match with just 10% HP remaining. He can't really go back in, and ground targets will win this battle if he wants to survive and drag it out. Or what they could possibly do is say to Juki, okay, this game is lost, but just stay alive, stay up in the air, give us some time to think about a strategy for the next game, and just suicide by the time we have a strategy. But he goes back in head on. I feel like he could have taken Ares out there, decided not to, then getting killed by these pit fires. So nice match coming out here of Air Force, or Turkish Air Force versus DSA, and a 1-0 victory goes to the Turkish Air Force. The ground attack strategy that DSA came out with doesn't seem to have worked, at least not as they wanted. Perhaps they thought, like me, it was on Pacific Ocean, which is a significantly bigger map, so if you're on the wrong side, it's gonna take you a minute or maybe even 2 minutes to even get to their ground attack aircraft. In 2 minutes, the ground attack aircraft can rack up a lot of ground target kills. Alright, so match 1 is over. Looks like we're gonna stay on harbour, which would mean I have been misinformed. Hello, Sasha. And no team switching either. Let me confirm for a second. In the meantime, the heater in my room is killing me, so I'm gonna open my balcony door for a second. Don't go anywhere. Looks like one of the team, or maybe even both of the teams, are still discussing the next tactics, or well, the tactics for their next match, before giving the go to the matchmaker. Or not. Here we go. Same sides, same map, nothing has changed. Same planes as well. I'm not sure if people are actually allowed to switch planes in between matches, but it doesn't look like it so far. So again, the Illusion 2 coming out for DSA, and this time I will be on the side of the Turkish Air Force. I'm gonna follow the Etruscan now, or first spot perhaps already going out. So all climbing to get a high altitude, even though The DSA people seem to be quite low in the first match. First spot already going out on the 110E of DSA, and the P40 and Spitfire has also been spotted. Effectively the whole team has been spotted by now. Two of the Spitfire, two of the Spitfires, the P40, the 110E, and they seem to function as a looks like they want them to come there so their illusion can rack up as many ground targets as possible. And Turkish Airforce replied very smartly by positioning one of their members in the base, and now the spot has gone out. Two of the Spitfires are moving in to take that illusion out before it can take out too many ground targets. In the meantime,
User
it looks
joined
like the
your
Etruscan
channel.
and Dookie have crashed into each other, and that's not good for either of the teams. Ahmad's getting
You
chased
see
by...
you see the other side, you see the Stahl and the Adler,
Yeah?
right? Yeah, I see the Turkish Airforce, and they made him right good.
We're still in the battle, Red Wing.
Yeah, we're still on the battle.
Yeah, I'm casting.
Yeah, I know. But we can talk
Oh, not really.
or not?
No, not
Yeah.
really.
We can. Okay.
Right, in this minor interruptions, in the meantime, 3 members of DSA have gone down, including the IL-2. This time only getting 3 ground target kills. Ahmed is running for his life, hugging the ground to not receive any damage. Now coming back up on the P40, and this looks like a 2-0 victory to me. Maybe not as convincing as guys who they just cousins, but definitely
User left
a
your
clean
channel.
2-0 victory coming out here for Turkish Air Force, and the ground attack strategy of DSA not really paying off, and in this match at least. That means DSA is excluded from this tournament and kicked out in round 1, and the Turkish Air Force go on to round 2 with a 2-0 victory. Next up will be bracket J. That will be Black Swan 2 versus Czech Air 1. Both these teams, unlike before in the other matches, both these teams have some tournament experience. And it would be that the Black Swan 2 is at the moment in the 3rd round for the Silvering Release tournament, which will be played tomorrow. It will not be streamed, at least not by Wargaming. They will stream the semi-finals and the finals, I believe, but not yet the 3rd round. And they need to go up versus the team Just for Fun, which is also participating in this very tournament. Czech Air 1 also quite some experience. I think they participated in 2 or 3 of the previous Silverwing tournaments. That will be the official Wargaming tournaments we've had so far. And their last result was getting into the 4th round of the loser bracket of Silverwing 4. And that was the last official Wargaming tournament before the release tournament. So Czech Air 1 versus Black Swan 2 coming up next. I will not bore you any longer with long talks and return to satisfying music instead.